Today on Drawbli,
Ben is using his new digital notebook.
Hey, I'm Ben.
And I'm Abby.
And we are drawing together because art is better with friends.
So click that subscribe button if you're new around here.
And don't forget to check out our guidebook on daily drawing, link down below.
So Ben, where'd you get this digital notebook? It's so cute.
Internet.
Aw. Is it like just a background that you draw on?
It is just an image, yeah.
It's cool.
It's just a JPEG that I found online.
How does that feel though, like drawing on what looks like a notebook? Does that change things?
So first, I need to give, proper shout out to Jens Klesens, who is an artist that does this.
Oh.
He's the only, I've maybe seen like a couple other people do something similar where they'll like post up their art in a sketchbook image like this, but he actually always uses the same sketchbook canvas to draw on digitally in Photoshop or Procreate or whatever he uses. So I was like, oh, I want to give that a shot, try it out, see how it goes. It was actually really fun to do. It gave it just a different feel, a different vibe.
That's cool. I want to try. Move over. Let me in.
Well, you're always using your paper textures for your background.
Oh yeah, the canvas texture.
But
yeah.
I would definitely recommend giving this a shot if people haven't tried something like this before.
It seems like a lot of fun, just visually.
It was a lot of fun. And I had a lot of fun and success working on this sketch. I feel like it weirdly put me out of my comfort zone to try some new stuff, be really experimental. I feel like I've been not in a rut necessarily lately, but in a place where I've been doing a lot of the same techniques and I've been kind of coasting in some ways.
I understand that.
Where I want to be experimenting more and I want to be actively focusing on what I'm drawing a little more. I feel like a lot of the time it's really easy to go into autopilot, right? And if you're someone who has been doing art for a long time, when I'm when I'm sculpting a character, like a brand new character, a lot of the time in the initial phases, I will not listen to anything and I will be super focused on what I'm doing because it just makes it go so much faster and I can actually think about certain decisions, things that are gonna come later on. But if I'm listening to music or a podcast like I typically am, I will have a really hard time, just being able to do that, both of those things at the same time.
Sometimes I sit down to draw and I plan to listen to music or something, and I start drawing before I start it, and then 30 minutes later I'm like, oh, I forgot to put anything on, and I've just been sitting here in silence.
Yeah.
Probably for the best.
Yeah, especially when it comes to really complex stuff, it's good to be thinking about those things so that you can, make decisions in that moment that are going to come up later so that when you finally get there, you don't have to think about it for, 10 plus minutes and noodle around and waste a ton of time.
Yeah, no, I agree. I like that. I like this sketch a lot too. I love your hatching.
Yeah, I thought it was really fun. It was kind of messy and just organic, and I feel like the sketchbook paper kind of lends that nature to it.
It does, because it has a little bit of a texture to it, so it already kind of takes away from that sterile cleanliness of just a white or even slightly off-color background.
Yeah, and my brush here has a lot of organic kind of mess-em-ups in it, is what I'm gonna call it. It's not a super clean brush stroke or anything.
Yeah, is that one of the brushes you created recently?
It is one of my custom brushes.
Cool.
It's the Hex pencil.
That's awesome.
I like using it a lot.
Yeah, it looks really cool. I like that.
Now, have you had a chance to play around with any of the brushes?
A little bit. I haven't started a piece with them yet, which I'd like to do this week. But I do like them. They're very cool.
We thank you. Well, here I only have, or I'm only showing off a couple sketches because I have to admit I did a lot of sketching since the last time we recorded, and a lot of it was really bad.
That's okay. I did a lot of bad sketching since we recorded.
I'm talking real bad.
Are you going to show us some of these real bad sketches?
Absolutely not. These are Ben's sketches for Ben.
But that's our whole thing, Ben. We don't just show the good things of what we've drawn. We show the process.
I absolutely show off a ton of bad stuff here on Drawbli. However, the amount of work that I'm talking about is so much that it's probably enough for 5+ more videos of just sketches, because I've been doing some sketching from the imagination and just kind of playing around with that sort of thing. So, very early in that process, not anything really even worth looking at. Really basic primitive shapes, playing around with perspective, just trying to think a little differently how I would work when I don't have a reference to look at.
It is tough to work without reference. I can get some basic shapes down, but this like complex lighting and shading like this, I would really struggle. That was a beautiful sketch, by the way.
Thank
Great
you.
job. Great job.
Yeah, maybe I'll go back and paint on that one a little later. But I kind of like the way that the sketch looked by itself. So I feel like I don't want to taint it. I don't want to mess it up.
Sometimes that's just how that goes. Like I did some sketching this week that I was pretty pleased with the sketches, and then I did a paint pass, and I think I'm just less skillful with paint than I am with sketching. So it can be
very possible.
It can be a little discouraging to put paint onto something like, oh, this was so good just without paint, I thought.
Yeah, I mean, those are two not completely separate skills, but they're different parts of the process. So if you practice the first part a ton and don't do the second one as often, of course you're not going to be as good at that part.
Exactly.
It's just natural.
Yeah, totally natural. But I'd like to get better at the painting process too.
I actually find that my best artworks that I enjoy and end up looking the best at the end are artworks that I start without sketching at all. Like I just go in directly with paint. I feel like that is the most natural way for me to work and think, because it's the most similar to sculpting, working with like really big brushes and really big shapes. But the thing is, like, I love doing that, and I've often thought, like, what if I just go all in on that process? Like just straight up big brush strokes, painting all the time, don't even worry about lines and sketching. But at the same time, I'm like, but I really have gotten so much better at sketching, and I really like doing it. It's super cool and fun. So it's like I can't do it all. Like,
I like sketching a lot. I find it so satisfying, and like it's calming. It's just soothing to do it. I really enjoy just lines on paper. So yeah, that'd be tough. Because if you're happier with the work you complete, just putting paint on, that's a little bit rough. But maybe we'll get there. We'll get better.
Well, the thing is, like, I'm not as good with this process. However, I really enjoy this process and therefore want to get better at it. So I'm saying, like, I'm okay with being worse at this part for now, so that I can continue to, like, get better and improve. You know, it's like, if you're doing something like in a workout with the wrong technique, it's like, yeah, you're gonna have to take some steps backwards to, like, you know, reassess and get better. Like in bouldering, when we used to rock climb a lot, like there were a lot of techniques that I probably wasn't doing correct, and if I would have been instructed properly, I would have had to take some natural steps backward.
Oh yeah, like when I do CrossFit right now, and I often go with lighter weights than I could probably carry, because I really want to focus on fundamental forms, and in that case, not injuring myself or something.
Which is super important.
And I guess how that translates to art is, you know, choosing things like simple references or a simpler workflow. Lots of different ways to kind of carry that through.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that I don't, like, get really far ahead of myself, and I'm at a point where I'm I'm at least really happy with the paint that I'm doing, and then I try to draw and I'm just, like, terrible at it. Like, I don't want to leave a bunch of skills behind in the dust, so to speak.
Well, this drawing, by the way, is really good. I really like this drawing. I like the life that's in it. I like the colors you're doing. This is really good.
I actually tested myself here. As you can see, I don't have the reference on screen. And that's because I actually feel fairly confident with my painting workflow in terms of just, like,
I love your painting workflow.
Playing around with what I have and not, you know, really needing a reference necessarily. But I don't think that's, like, a super difficult skill. It's just, like, coloring in a sketch almost.
Yeah, but I don't know, like, it's very different from anything I've done, and I just love watching you do it, because it's so different but so effective. I like you working with the gradient map there. That's fun too.
I did this is all, like, adjustment stuff at the end, and I was like, well, my values are pretty good here, but I want to play around with some stuff, so I threw that gradient mask on top, like, really, really gently.
I've never seen this before, this kind of gradient mask thing you're doing here.
This isn't a gradient mask. This is just a clipping mask where I'm erasing some of the edges, kind of just experimenting and playing around with some lost edges, blurring some stuff out.
Cool.
Just experimenting and blending and blurring out some different areas. Although I felt like I went a little heavy-handed, so I, knocked some of that back a little.
This is cool. I love your focus on fundamentals. I thought you took this portrait to a really great spot, and I feel like you're just a couple steps away from bringing it to a new level. Yeah. This is a cool reference.
Getting close to a level up.
I think so.
I can smell it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and this is just one last little sketch that I threw out here. Nothing I painted, just another quick one. I've recently adjusted my morning routine to where I'm now sketching first thing in the morning so that I make sure that I can do that every day for at least 30 minutes and, just check that off my list.
Nice. Yeah. I wish my life did not have so many fluctuations day to day, because it would be so nice to be able to set up a very steady routine. But I could probably adjust my current life and routine enough that I could do something like that. It's hard though, and I think this is just something I want to share to commiserate with anybody else who has to get up very early for work. You become very protective of every minute of sleep, where you're like, anything I'm getting up any earlier for better be absolutely essential to living. It's hard to convince yourself to get up any earlier than you already are if you already get up very early for work. So
that is very fair.
But it's also tough when you work, long shifts and you come home and you're like, I have an hour before I should really be getting back to bed. And what do I do in that hour is a tough question too.
One thing I've been thinking about a lot on these sketches lately, I find that doing stuff that I'm a lot more confident in, or things that I think are a lot easier, like a face straight on, I can do a lot better. And by doing that, it helps me focus on areas that I often struggle with repeatedly, like the lips in a 3/4 view, like the mouth in a 3/4 view, or even an open mouth is the bane of my existence. So by doing faces straight on, which is easier for me, I'm able to, better practice those things. And I think that's really important and something I'm trying to do a little more, giving myself some more easier projects that I'm more confident in so that I can, I think, actually grow more rather than trying to do these really difficult projects.
I see what you're saying.
It really, specifically lately, it's been helping me focus on line weight a little more, which is not all too present in this image or any of these.
Oh, but I still love these. These are just so nice. Very, very fun to see. As always, you're improving as an artist, and these are really genuinely very pleasant to look at. So great job.
And if you want to be nice and improve as an artist, click that like and subscribe button.
And check out our guidebook, How to Easily Draw Every Day, at the link below in the description.
And this is the part where we say...
Goodbye.
Goomba. Abby, what's the name of our drawing guidebook again?
How to Easily Draw Every Day. Did it sound like I forgot?